Yeah, it's a very good point.
It's nice to have somebody that's like you who also is enthusiastic about this and share, because I don't get to share this my story learning English a lot with people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He visto los cambios de temporada y he llorado en tiempos de sequía.
It depends though. For me, I usually don't get too frustrated because I know it'll take me like 4 years before I understand anything.
Oh, yeah.
So usually
Yeah,
if it's less than 4 years, if I've studied for less than 4 years and I don't understand like what people are saying, I don't usually think it's frustrating and everything, but I don't usually get too worried. Like I don't, I feel like it's part of the process. I don't really think too much about it. Like even Mandarin, I've been learning for about 3.5 years, and I understand a lot now. Like I don't understand everything, but like if I'm talking to someone one-on-one, we're fine usually. If I listen to the radio or TV or like music, I understand like very little, and I have no problem. Like I don't feel frustrated. I don't have a problem with it. The one time I did feel frustrated though was when I was in China last year, and I wasn't frustrated at myself for not understanding the language. I was frustrated because I wanted to do things. I was living in China, so I had to speak Mandarin, and it was very frustrating because every time I wanted to say something, even very simple, it would take me like 10 minutes to think about how to say it. So that was hard because it would take me so long to say things, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so time consuming and takes so much energy." But that's a different frustration. That's a frustration of, that's not a frustration of I wish I could understand. It's a frustration of like, I just want to order my food, and it's taking me 10 minutes to think about how to order food.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
But I'm usually okay. Usually my big advice is just like if someone's getting frustrated, it's like, has it been less than 4 years? Has it been less than 5 years? If yes, then it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
That's usually what I tell people. And it's not true for everyone, because a lot of people, after like 1 year, they're able to understand a lot. After, like a lot of people, they figure it out. But like, if you look at the average, if you look at everyone, like, a lot of people take 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. A lot of people take that, and it's like a mental trick, because I'll be like, oh, wait 5 years, and I know that it might only take them 3. So it's like they're ready to wait 5, and after 3 they're ready. It's like, cool, perfect. You did it early. Nice job.
Yeah, and it also depends on how seriously you're trying to learn the language, right?
Very true.
I'm kind of fine if it takes me 10 years to learn German, because I'm aware that I'm not doing enough to speak it fluently.
And that's the big thing. That's actually I'm glad you said that. That's the most important thing, because the reason why I say like 5 years or 4 years, it's actually a random number. It's not necessarily 4 or 5 years, but I understand that most people probably are only studying like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a week, and I know that some people are going to go do 30 hours a week or 20 or whatever, but I know most people don't. And so if you're only doing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a week, yeah, probably is going to take you many years, right? So I'm glad you said that, because that's a very good point. If somebody came out and said, oh yeah, I'm going to be studying strategically and lots of hours for whatever it was, however many months, I might go, wow, you're going to be doing 20 hours a week, it's strategic, you're doing that. Maybe you'll figure a lot of it out in 1 year. Maybe. I don't know, right? But no, that's a very good point. I'm glad you mentioned it.
I think besides that, there is also another thing that I was going to say. I think it has to do also with the previous knowledge of the language I already have, because before I enrolled myself to the language school, I already had a good grammar command, like English grammar command, because I was used to doing exercises at school, and I did well on them. I did a lot of English tests, I did well on them, but I just couldn't speak yet. So when I had to move from the ability of doing well on tests, on grammar tests, and actually making phrases in English in my head and saying them out loud, talking to people, understanding them and talking back, then it didn't really take so long, because I was applying myself at that time strategically, like you said, And I also had a lot of previous knowledge of the language. I think when it's just brand new, you have to be very interested, very committed to learning. And it helps a lot also if you actually have this constant exposure, these interactions with people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Brazil, people only speak Portuguese. They know few people speak English here. Only if you're like out of a certain social standing, you know.
Yeah.
But you went abroad and you can pay for a language school, a language teacher. So the way that what I had to do to overcome my lack of exposure was through the internet. Getting exposed a lot.
That's very true though. The internet makes it a lot easier because before you couldn't, if you lived in some small town, you couldn't do it. You couldn't. You couldn't. It would be very hard to get over. You'd have to travel to a library, or you'd have to I don't even know. You'd have to be lucky and find a native speaker. Like who knows? Maybe you're lucky you find something on TV. But now it's really easy just to Google search, a YouTube search. And yeah, I was thinking about this. You said you were saying how like your previous knowledge in the language matters. Like I was even thinking right now. Like there's a song. You know the song Despacito, no?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So for example, but what happened is that in Canada, right? There's a version, actually not in Canada, there's a version done with Justin Bieber. And because of this version done with Justin Bieber, the Spanish song came to, it was on Calgary, it's on our radio in Calgary. And usually we don't have Spanish songs on our radio. That's not very common. And it made me think, wow, if we had, now there's thousands and thousands and really more than thousands really of people that are going to be looking up and researching the lyrics of the song, singing along to the song, and all of a sudden it's introducing Spanish to people in a way that isn't forced or isn't anything. And all of a sudden, if these people, imagine if they had that kind of exposure their whole lives, or maybe there's random Spanish songs here, they're around it, they have background knowledge. When they go and study it, yeah, absolutely, they're going to be way more likely to pick it up faster. So that's another good point. I feel like you're really smart.
It's because I've researched a lot on the internet about language learning.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
It's nice to have somebody that's like you who also is enthusiastic about this and share, because I don't get to share my story learning English a lot with people.
Yeah. That's super cool. Yeah, that's I like that.
De tu ausencia en mi piel.
So far this morning, two major things are really standing out. One of which is just the importance of review. One thing that's different about learning a language compared to maybe other subjects is that there's hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands of things that you actually have to know. When it starts with grammar, then you have vocabulary, you have accent things, pronunciation things, you have so many different things to remember, right? And so it's reviewing a lot of the content, a lot of the concepts that you've studied in the past, and reviewing them in different ways, I think is really, really important. And second of all, I also realized just the value of why one might make an online language course. Because myself, I've usually, in the past, I've kind of stayed away from that. I hadn't really done too much of that, didn't really want to make anything. And today it hit me, I was like, oh yeah, I guess in a lot of countries, the economy, the value of the currency doesn't transfer well over to my currency, right? So if I charge my rate in India to teach, it just wouldn't work because their currency is not worth anywhere near what our currency is in Canada. And so I was thinking oh yeah, if you have an online program or something that you've made online and you charge, $3, $4, $5 a month, whatever it is, right? All of a sudden that makes it a heck of a lot more accessible to people all around the world. And then Pasha language, Pasha or two language.
Pasha is more than one language.
Ekank, Beanko.
Beanko, Ekank.
Yeah, but Ek Hat Behat. Hatone. Okay.
Ekpag, bepag.
Yeah. But generally you make it le ek thari be thario.
Bethari we do it. You can say either, depends on the context. And that you will pick up from reading books.
Okay.
Lluvia, lluvia, ven con toda tu fuerza y llévate todas mis penas. sacude, sacude.